Okay. Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Oh shit, it gives count.
Hi, welcome to ComicSans. I'm Trev,
I'm Mark.
and today we're going to talk about Brian Michael Bendis' Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man from the year 2000, going back. I read this when it first came out. I followed it issue to issue and loved it at the time. Reading it again, not as much, but it's still really it's good. It's a fun read. Mark is reading it for the first time, I believe.
Yeah, this is the first time I've looked at the first 7 issues of Ultimate Spider-Man. My first experience with Ultimate Spider-Man was the introduction to Miles Morales. So getting to know the original run of the story is pretty exciting.
Yeah, once Miles comes on the scene, that's like well after like the Ultimate Universe has had its traction and lost its traction.
Yeah.
And it's kind of their attempt to scramble and make, like, I mean, there's a reason why Ultimate Spider-Man Miles Morales was the only thing left at the end of it, because it died out. They made some mistakes, but at the beginning it was awesome. All of it was awesome. Ultimate X-Men was really, really cool. It'd be cool to get to that sometime. Ultimate Fantastic Four was really good. It was actually the only time I've ever enjoyed a Fantastic Four comic. So we're gonna just go over our likes and dislikes and just do a basic review of the first 7 issues of Spider-Man. Written by Brian Michael Bendis and drawn by Mark Bagley. Bendis is pretty much the guy that recreated the status quo of Marvel. He's the Jeff Johns of Marvel. And I like the majority of the stuff that he's done. He wrote Siege, which is my favorite Marvel story. He did parts of Civil War, Secret Invasion, House of M, Avengers vs. X-Men, Secret War, the New Avengers run. He's pretty much like the Marvel guy. And this was probably the first thing that I ever saw him do. Your initial thoughts?
It was an alright start.
The general idea of the Ultimate Universe was to revamp everything, to make it like modern and edgy and new, but not a reboot of their main, like not like the New 52. So just not what they were going for with that.
Just bringing it into more current, I guess, alignments.
Yeah, and
style.
And the best way to do that is to create an Earth for it, I guess. So the Ultimate Universe is not a reboot so much as it's just an alternate universe where all of these stories can be told without fucking around with
main continuity.
Yeah, with decades of history.
Yeah.
A lot of differences in the Ultimate Universe. Some of them cool, some of them not. Revisiting Ultimate Spider-Man, there's for a book that came out in the year 2000, this is aesthetically very 90s, like mid 90s. And that's probably because Bagley also drew Maximum Carnage and the Clone Saga, which were 90s Spider-Man stories. So it has that vibe. I like it, but not as much as I used to. And I don't know if that's like my tastes changing or like realizing that it's not as edgy as I thought it was. It's and more of like just a cry for like, hey, look at me, like I'm an edgy story. That being said, I really like the art. I've always liked the art. Character designs, differences, similarities to the main universe.
They're
Norman Osborn,
very modern.
Big difference though. with Norman Osborn. Like, just looking at the first couple of pages, that is Lex Luthor with like a receding hairline. He looks exactly like Lex Luthor. And they really try to make him be Lex Luthor. Like, the Green Goblin's one of my favorite supervillains. And more so, like, Norman Osborn's one of my favorite villains. And that's after Bendis took, like, the reins with him during, like, leading into Dark Reign and into Siege. Like, the stuff with the Thunderbolts. Like, he really successfully turned him into Marvel's Lex Luthor. And I think he did that here first. Like, this was him testing those waters, I guess.
Yeah.
That being said, the Ultimate Green Goblin fucking sucks.
He sure does.
I hate that design. That is not a goblin. That is a dragon man, or a...
He kind of just hulks it out, I guess.
Yeah, it's very, very reminiscent of a Hulk.
With fire hands.
Yep, and fire breath.
Fire.
He doesn't do it that often, but he just breathes fireballs. Like, he's...
It's like Bowser.
Yeah, he's Bowser. And I realize that they're just trying to make things as different as they can, but it seems drastic.
Like, went a little overboard.
Yeah, and he's pretty much the only, like, we're only doing the first 7 issues, but later on when they get into, like, the stuff with the Sinister Six or the Ultimate Six, and the Venom stuff and the Carnage stuff, all the rest of the villains' redesigns are awesome. Like, Octavius is awesome. Doc Ock looks awesome. And the tentacles are, like, they're rounded at the end, but they can, like, morph into claw-type things or, like, laser shit. Electro, like, they ditched the green and yellow
suit
lightning
and the
bolt
mask.
suit, and they're, like... What
Mask.
Jamie Foxx does in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 with the blue skin and stuff, that's directly from the Ultimate Universe. A lot of things are from the Ultimate Universe in the X-Men. And that's because for making a movie, it's a lot easier to draw reference from something more, like, modern and down to earth and... I'm not going to say realistic, because that's kind of a silly word to use when you're talking about comics.
But that's kind of what they're doing. They're trying to make it emulate the current everyday.
Yeah.
In the style it's drawn, and in the way that the characters interact, and what they talk about and do.
I like that Kraven the Hunter is pretty much, like... he's just this TV show guy.
Huh.
Like a reality TV show hunter. Who wants to hunt Spider-Man because it's, like, the ultimate thing and it would give him crazy ratings. And he's got this agent that's like,
That's
Kraven,
ridiculous.
baby, we're gonna do this. And he's like, he looks like Neil Patrick Harris, too, the agent, like Kraven the Hunter's agent. It's ridiculous. And in the Sinister Six, they, like, the rest of the guys will look at him and just say, like, you're the least powerful member of this team, so just shut up and we won't, like, hurt you. But I suppose his well of villains isn't really that... Like, Ultimate Spider-Man's well of villains isn't really that deep yet. When they're... I think Ultimate 6 was... I mean, it wasn't that long after the run started, but... I mean, he hadn't made that many other villains.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, this is a pretty good place to start, though. It's almost... Well, not really almost. It is 2 origins in one. I like the fact that Osborn knows from the start that it's Peter. I think that's really cool.
Right off the bat. And he doesn't seem to divulge that information with anybody,
to
like,
anyone,
all throughout the
ever.
run. It's a weird thing where he just, like, keeps it to himself.
His assistant thinks he's nuts.
He is nuts, though. Right off the bat, he's nuts. He's got weird motivations. Like, he's super obsessed with Peter. And, like, once he gets bit by the spider, and it's... Like, at first it's like, okay, I might have him killed because he's, like, it might be a lawsuit, but the minute he realizes that there's, like, something has reacted within the kid's blood, he's just like, okay, nothing else matters.
That was like a split second.
Yeah.
By the end of that page, he was like, no. Like, we need more shit on this kid.
But once he, like, his logic is just, like...
So fucked up.
He got the powers of a spider from the DNA of this spider mixed with Oz. So I'm going to inject myself with bits of Oz and my own DNA to make me more me. What kind of fucking... Like, what kind of thinking is that? What line of thinking is that? I'm just, like...
And then the time span within the comic, that was probably over an evening. So the next day, like, from the morning to that next evening, he's had his scientists prepping that, and then just shoots it up that night.
Yeah, without any, like, testing or anything. And just, assumedly, just right off the bat, starts blowing the shit out of his own facility. Like, but he has his mind.
Yeah.
We know that.
He's still in there.
So he just blows up his lab for no reason and kills all of his own men.
He kills his wife, which we didn't even get to see.
Yeah, that's
I don't think that was worth even mentioning on, like...
It would have been better if we had have gotten a little bit of her, like, being a nurturing, caring woman to, like, at least as a mother to Harry, if not, like...
I would have
desperately trying to get her husband's attention wife.
I would have been fine if they would have just mentioned later on in, I guess, that issue that Harry's mother was in the house and died in the fire, instead of having her scream, kind of seeing her silhouette, and then that's it. Like,
just seeing one, like, jagged, outstretched
up to
arm
that point,
from under flaming rubble.
Up to that point, I didn't even know there was a wife.
Yeah, yep. And it doesn't often mention Osborn's wife in, like, the 616 universe either, I don't think. But I could be wrong about that as well. Spider-Man gets his powers and his home life. Aunt May is younger, cooler. That's not really shown right off the bat, but later on it's all about, like, tracksuits and Pilates and
Yoga
stuff.
May.
Yep, Yoga May. Uncle Ben.
Uncle Ben looks like he could go dig up some dinosaurs.
Yep, no, he definitely looks like a paleontologist or some kind of, like, fishing television show. I don't know.
Fishing guru?
Yeah, something.
He'd teach you how to build a birdhouse real good.
Which is, like, kind of overcritical of us, because he's just a guy with a ponytail.
He's a nice guy,
like,
though.
some people have ponytails.
But he's just got that craftsman look, I guess.
Yeah, he looks... I don't know. He looks like he plays a flute on a door, like a porch.
Plays a pan.
Yeah, or something. But anyway, Uncle Ben's super lovable, just like he was before, if not more.
As always.
Aunt May's also lovable. It's hard not to love them. His death is really drawn out in this one.
Yeah.
A lot more. The character development with Uncle Ben in the short period of time that it happens it's enough.
Like, I'm glad the origin took place only over 7 issues. But, like, they could have had Uncle Ben die a little earlier, because when he did, it seemed a little rushed. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to... You have to rush it a little bit, because there's a lot of information that you're going to try to feed into the first couple issues, just because of how many times people have heard it.
Yeah.
Like, that origin is... Like, people are getting
quite well known.
Sick and tired of seeing Uncle Ben get killed. Known. They're tired of seeing...
Like the Waynes.
Yeah.
Maybe the world really just hates...
Oh my... If I see the Waynes die one more time...
And the Wayne family. It's like, we love... Secretly, we love seeing these wonderful people get killed.
Yep. But I mean, even the rocket landing in the cornfield, we get it.
Like, I know.
We get it.
That's him.
That's him. He's not from here.
Yeah.
It's a weird connection that you seem to get to the parental figures.
Yeah. When
they're present. Like Ma and Pa Kent. I love Ma and Pa Kent. Alfred, I guess you could consider
Alfred is.
Aunt May, Uncle Ben. But yeah, Mary Jane right off the bat is introduced into, like, she's known
Yeah, I
Peter
thought
for years, which is what.
that would be later on in the issues.
Yeah,
But,
the earlier
it was right in the
Spider-Man
front.
movies were like,
Yeah.
they drew from this in the sense that he's known Mary Jane his whole life. There was no like, oh, he's down on his luck, and then Aunt May sets him up with the blind date, and he's like, oh great, here we go, probably some troll, like super judgmental for a guy in Peter's romantic predicament, and then the door opens up. Face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot.
I think that would have been cool to carry over though, but because it would make a lot more sense now since May is a lot more modern.
Yeah,
And she'd probably do something like that.
Yeah, but I don't mind the fact that they've known each other forever, and she already seems to be somewhat interested in him. Because you kind of have to rush the romantic shit too.
Yeah.
If you want to get, you got to catch up.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're trying.
That's a lot of years to condense.
And I mean, obviously they're excited to get past this shit, right?
Yeah.
They want to get into doing the new
stuff
that they can do. I mean, eventually they turned Matt Gargan, the Scorpion, who was just this, like, originally just this dude, like a private detective kind of, like, you know, he snitches on dudes that are cheating on their wives kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then Jameson commissions the Scorpion Project or whatever. But in the Ultimate Universe, when they introduce Matt Gargan, he's like the Scorpion as a fucking gangster. Like, he's got, like, the wife beater and like scorpion tattooed across his neck, and he rocks a chain with a
chain hooks.
Yeah,
the meat hooks on
like,
the chain.
Yeah,
Miles has to fight him at one point.
Yeah, he's a Miles villain, and it's cool that they waited that long to introduce him. They did like the Clone Saga Scorpion in the Ultimate Universe for the Ultimate Clone Saga, but we won't get into that. We're gonna try to stay away from the Clone Sagas. Harry's high school classmates. Holy shit, we just walked into, like, Degrassi High. For a 2000s, like, turn of the millennium comic, where everything's supposed to be edgy, and it just... The art, like I said before, is really, really mid-90s, as far as, like, the fashion designs and everything go. Like, Mary Jane's wearing the overalls, and Peter's wearing, like, an anti-smoking shirt. Flash Thompson is just...
That haircut.
What is Flash Thompson?
Oh boy.
This is the dorkiest Flash Thompson's ever looked, and you'd think that this is where they'd have Flash Thompson be like... smoking cigarettes in the bathroom with the leather jacket and the slick back hair. Not like a 50s...
Yeah.
Like, not like a T-Bird or anything, but... Just like the modern, edgy, bad boy kind of thing. But nope, they just put him in, like... They put him in a football jersey or, like, denim overalls. And that stupid fucking hair. I hate that hair. One thing that they give us in the Ultimate Universe that I'm almost, like, 100% sure they don't give us in the 616 universe is the introduction of Kong. Kong is, like... the big meathead that I guess Flash normally is. Flash is like... I guess he's just smaller by comparison. Like, Flash isn't necessarily smaller.
But he's not...
Kong is huge. And he's just oafish, but he kind of, like, deep down has a heart of gold, which you find out later. But that's after these 7 issues. For now, he's just a douchebag bully that picks on Peter, just like Flash. They're buddies. They're both on the football team. Peter joins the football, or it's not even football.
It's basketball.
It's basketball.
Plays on the basketball
It was
team.
football in the 616 universe, and it's basketball because I guess that's the more popular sport for, like, young people,
time.
And that's what they want to do in the Ultimate Universe. Yeah, no, my mistake. They play basketball, which, I mean, Spider-Man playing basketball
makes a lot of sense.
That would look awesome.
Yeah.
Just a 2 teams of Spider-Men playing basketball. That would be awesome.
So much finesse.
So many webs. They'd probably be illegal.
Yeah.
So, Osborn is testing his Oz formula on arachnids as a means of trying to further the project along. Oz is the goblin serum of this universe. Cool name. I like the name. Gives it that, like, weird fantastical feel to it.
Yeah.
To kind of stress that the goblins, like...
something out of this world and
strange. Yeah. And there doesn't seem to be any setup at all to... like, they're just there at the lab looking at the science exhibits and looking at the spiders and stuff. And then out of nowhere, the spider lands on Peter's hand and bites him.
Yeah.
And the wound looks disgusting.
It's a spider stain on his hand.
And he tosses it at Mary Jane by accident, but he does. She whacks it with a book, and Kong squishes it. Fearing a lawsuit, Osborn has Peter tailed by some assassins, or an assassin rather, and it's demonstrated that Peter has gained abilities from this spider bite. And Osborn immediately realizes, okay, this kid's been affected, so I want to study him. I want to see what's going on with him. And he ends up creating a serum just based on himself and the Oz formula, and injects himself with it.
And becomes the Green Goblin.
Yep, that's how we get our Goblin. It's a horrible looking Goblin, but I mean, we don't really get the full view of him until
a few issues later.
Yeah.
I think around issue 5-ish.
That sounds right.
Yeah. By the end of issue 4, he's turned into the Goblin, and issue 5 is where he shows up at home again and kills his wife and tries to kill Harry, I guess.
It's kind of left ambiguous. Well, I suppose not. I was going to say it seems kind of like up in the air whether he's there to kill him or collect him for something. But he's straight up throwing fucking fireballs at him.
I think if someone throws fireballs at you, they don't want you to be alive.
And the Goblin pretty much comes into creation at the exact moment that Uncle Ben dies.
Yeah.
So Peter goes out to go after the shooter, just like he always does in every single telling of this origin. Fun fact, during the whole wrestling thing that he does before becoming a superhero, the wrestling promoter gives him his costume. He has that shitty, like, sweater thing with a
sweater
ski
and
mask.
a toque.
And the wrestling promoter actually has a costume made for him, which is weird.
Yeah, like, how do you get those measurements? Maybe he's just been at this a long time, and he just knows by looking at him.
Yeah. The first version that he gets doesn't have the spider emblem or the web pattern. It's just, like, the red and blue. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be horrible if he had just that. Kind of miss the emblem.
Yeah, I think it could do with the emblem. He eventually puts it on there by the time he makes his appearance at school with it.
He doesn't kill or accidentally cause the death of the man that kills his uncle, just like most iterations of it.
He goes on a
once in a while the guy dies. He trips over a pipe and falls through the glass or whatever. So Goblin is after Harry and shows up at the school to go after him. For whatever reason, we're not really given that. The web shooters. Peter's dad created the adhesive, or at least tried to. He started up the formula and kind of got it to work, but Peter perfected it and created these web shooters, giving himself webs, which is kind of cool. It's a neat little twist.
I like how he was able to do that, just waking up one morning after working on it, and like, this is what it's missing, or this is how it needs to go.
Yeah. Because
of, I don't know, spider knowledge.
Yeah.
Spider wisdom.
A few days after the incident at the Osborn mansion, killing Mrs. Osborn and scarring young Harold Osborn for life, he ends up going back to school after a few days.
Yeah.
Which is highly unrealistic.
Probably would have gone out of state to stay with family.
Yep, he's obviously shaken. He freaks out a little bit, and wow, the Goblin shows up. Who would have thought? And Spider-Man, who happens to be present, dons the costume and faces off against the Goblin for the first time. And just that panel where where it's the full shot of the Goblin for the first time. Where did he get the cloak and the tights?
With that belt.
Yeah, like the belt and
it looks like he
the
came here
bracers.
from another time or dimension.
Yeah, it's like he was planning to become this thing the entire... Like, they do look cool, but it's very, like, that 90s...
muscle monster kind of thing.
Just...
Like, he grabs Peter by the head, I think, at one point in their fight. Yeah. This is also his Peter's first actual fight. And I like how it goes in true Spider-Man fashion, where it's off the cuff the whole time, hoping and praying that his shooters are going to work.
Oh yeah, no, Bagley knows how to draw Spider-Man, like in Spider-Man poses, like the way McFarlane knew how just...
To draw Spawn.
Well, no, when McFarlane drew Spider-Man, he just the poses with like the knees pretty much like above the head and just these really almost creepy, like perverse
contortionist kind of.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you're going to use the powers how they're most effective, and if you're the most agile thing in the universe, then go for it. The Goblin looks terrible. I don't like it at all, but he does what goblins do, and that's throw explosive things at Spider-Man. And they have their initial fight, and as Mark mentioned earlier, he knows right off the bat, like, he's hunting him down as well. He's just like purr. It seems to be the only thing that...
It's kind of Reverse Flash-ish, kind of like Eobard Thawnish. Like, he hates Peter so much.
It's
the
an
one
obsession.
thing.
It's definitely an obsession.
Yeah.
And later on, he even goes so far as, like, in the Ultimate Six stuff, he goes so far as to say that, like, he breaks out of jail. He's like, we're going after my boy.
Yeah.
We're going after my son. Like, my boy. And they're like, where is Harry? And he's like, I'm not talking about Harry. I'm talking about Parker. Because he views him as his, like, creation, his success. As always, Norman Osborn is not a proud father.
I feel so bad for Harry.
It's hard not to feel bad for Harry until he becomes, like, a shitty version of the Green Goblin. I don't like the Harry Osborn Green Goblin in the 616 universe at all. So, Goblin has his ass kicked by Spider-Man, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which kind of, like, punks out a super, like, badass, powerful villain that you're trying to...
Well, I don't know. He got shot in the chest a lot.
Yeah, but look at him. He's a Hulk.
Yeah,
I don't like the skin tone. I don't like that he's, like...
green
that it's
in
still
the face.
flesh color, but is, like... maybe his hands,
Are those spikes coming out of his elbows?
Yeah, like Doomsday.
Oh.
Yeah. But later on, it's even more so.
Really?
Yeah. It's, he's green, like, all over.
Yeah, he's all
his
green.
Legs go, like, reverse, like a deer or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's... I don't know. I don't like it. And the fact that they're trying to shove down our throats how powerful he is, and he's always accompanied by massive amounts of fire.
He knows exactly what to do with his powers from the get-go. Like, how to use them.
And why does, like, human DNA and Oz formula turn you into that?
Yeah.
If spider DNA doesn't change you physically very much at all.
Peter doesn't mutate at all in the Ultimate Universe?
He might eventually. I think like the 6-arm Spider-Man thing is dealt with in the Clone Saga by having like Tarantula.
Yeah.
But I don't know, he's stupid. I don't like the design at all. But yeah, he gets defeated. The helicopters got him down with bullets, and that seemingly finishes him off. Later on, you find out it doesn't.
Any villain who falls into the water is doomed to be back.
And he goes tumbling off the Brooklyn Bridge. Like, he goes where Gwen Stacy in the 616 universe died. The cops immediately try to arrest Spider-Man. Yeah. They go back to the high school, check on Harry, see if he's okay. And, later on you come to find out that the Goblin absolutely did survive. Surprise! He goes on to do some really cool stuff with Dr. Octopus, who in this universe worked for Osborn in the same accident that created the other. Ultimate Doc Ock is awesome. Ultimate Electro is awesome. Ultimate Rhino is... I mean, it's hard to make an interesting Rhino. Rhino's lovable, but it's like, Rhino's not interesting.
Can't do much.
Yeah. Like, final thoughts with Ultimate Spider-Man?
It was pretty good. I will definitely continue to reading it, despite finding all of it on my hard drive hidden away that I totally forgot about.
And I mean, later on, it gets better. It gains its traction. Yeah. And when it introduces Gwen, eventually, like, she's this, like, this badass, like, chains and, like, punk rock kind of fashion thing. She, like, pulls a knife out on Kong when he bullies Peter. Like, she's that girl. Like, I've been fucking, like, kicked out of 7 schools and... just, you know, the badass, but they're a good person kind of thing.
Yeah. Badass with a cause.
Eddie Brock is introduced as, like, a lifelong friend of Peter, and they're, like... their parents were scientists together, and they developed Venom as, like... the Venom symbiote is actually their attempt at curing cancer.
Oh.
It's neat, but it's
that is
like,
neat, though.
Venom's not an alien. And
I think that's
on,
fine.
Carnage is just like a result of cloning and while doing stuff with the Venom symbiote. It's all right. And eventually Ultimatum happens and flips all of this shit right upside down. Immediately after this is when the Kingpin is introduced in the Ultimate Universe, who is awesome. Ultimate Kingpin is so cool. Like, Kingpin's always cool. I love Kingpin. But Ultimate Kingpin is definitely the coolest version of the Kingpin.
He's the Alpha Kingpin?
Yeah, I would say so. Alright, so, in conclusion, Ultimate Spider-Man, pretty good read. I would definitely recommend checking it out. I'd recommend checking out the entire run, as well as Ultimate X-Men. If you haven't, and this is the early stuff, because like I said, later on, after an event called Ultimatum, the Ultimate Universe really starts to lose its traction until the death of Ultimate Spider-Man, which is when we eventually get Miles Morales, who is one of the coolest characters to come out in the past, 5 years. So that was Ultimate Spider-Man, issues 1 to 7, the opening arc from the year 2000 by Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Bagley. I'm Trev.
I'm Mark.
And next we're going to be doing Batman Battle for the Cowl, 2009. Art and story by Tony Daniel. After a short break, we will see you then. He wrote Avengers vs. X-Men. He wrote Siege.
That's pretty cool.
He's essentially Marvel's Jeff Johns.
That's pretty cool. You want to do an episode that's like an homage to artists or homage to writers?
I will do
or
it.
like,
I will totally do a Grant Morrison episode.
Or like on their birthday, on Grant's birthday.
I will verbally suck Grant Morrison's dick for 45 minutes straight on a podcast. Absolutely.
I'd watch that.
I'm Trev.
I'm Mark.
And today we're going to go over 2009's Batman, Battle for the Cowl, art and story by Tony Daniel. Pretty awesome. I was a huge fan of this. I got the trade when it came out, which was my first time actually experiencing it. I wasn't reading Batman at the time as it was coming out. In light of it being like the main run only being 3 issues long, I feel like they got a lot of information in there.
Yeah.
And a lot of... It's just a really cool story. Like, it's so important, but I also feel like it kind of doesn't quite reach the bar when it comes to how important it doesn't put that across as much. You know, it's the mantle of the Batman fucking being passed down. That's the whole premise of this. Okay, well, a little bit of context for anybody that doesn't really know what's going on here. Bruce Wayne, the Batman, has seemingly been killed. He was hit by the Omega Sanction by Darkseid in the conclusion of Grant Morrison's Final Crisis, which we will someday get to.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to that later.
Everyone's in their mourning process. The Justice League, the Outsiders, the Bat Family, the Gotham Network in general. And this story focuses mainly on the Gotham Network, the Bat Family, and specifically the Robins. And by the Robins, I mean everyone that's been a Robin. So, going into it, Gotham has exploded. Not literally, but in lieu of Batman's demise and everybody becoming aware of it, pretty much every gang and psychopath in Gotham they're on holiday.
Coming out of the woodwork.
They're just going nuts. And what's left of the Batman team, family, I guess, the network is, they're spread pretty thin, trying to put out these fires.
Dick called in some favors, and he's got a lot of friends running around with him.
Yep. Right off the bat, we've got Tim Drake, Robin. In my opinion, the best Robin.
Yeah.
He's rolling around with Knight's apprentice or sidekick, Squire, who looks absolutely ridiculous, but I mean, it's a cute concept. The British Batman and Robin, Knight and Squire. It's it's neat.
The sidekicks team up.
So they're rolling around on the Redbird motorcycle or the Bat cycle. I'm not sure. It looks like the Bat cycle.
Looks like the Bat cycle.
I don't know why you wouldn't be rocking around the Redbird, but Nightwing and Knight are going to town on Professor Pig's minions, I believe they are. We've got Wildcat and Black Canary. They're taking out some thugs. Pretty much everything's just gone to shit. Batwoman is involved. Black Bat is involved. Man Bat, Katana. Pretty much.
Called in a lot of favors.
Yeah, you which I suppose you can when you're
Dick.
Yeah, and I mean the Batman's dead, right? So there's a lot of touched a lot of these people's lives. In the midst of all of this, you have people being killed, villains being gunned down or slaughtered in some sense, with notes being left around saying, I am Batman. Somebody claiming to be Batman, taking credit for all of these horrible things done to, albeit horrible people, but, just bad things. Several bodies are found hanging under bridges and stuff with notes nailed to them that say, thief, murderer, rapist. It's like there's somebody out there wanting us to believe, hey, I'm Batman, and he's
doing a pretty good job of it.
Yeah, if Batman was a psychopath.
If he was a psychopath.
Yeah, we have a changed Nightwing. The death of Bruce hit him really hard, and our usually fun-loving, joke-cracking, he's the opposite side to. That's why Dick Grayson's always been so important, at least in my eyes, is he's always been like that one piece of the light side that holds Bruce back from completely going like into the worst that he could end
into
up
his sad space.
And to lose Bruce, it's like losing your best friend, your brother, your father, like all of that, your brother in arms, like everything. And his emotions just seem to just shut off, and he just goes into,
it's all about work.
Just being a vigilante. He loses himself in the work.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Damian's running around being shitty like he always is, because fuck Damian. I love Grant Morrison to death. Let's not get that twisted. I love Grant Morrison, probably my favorite writer. But I hate Damian. I hate Damian with a preoccupying hatred. But anyway, he's going around being Damian, while Tim is doing his best and Nightwing's doing his best to keep everything contained, with this psychotic Batman wannabe rolling around gunning down bad guys, and the bad guys themselves going ape shit in the city. A bus full of Arkham inmates is being transferred from Blackgate to, I think it's the newly built Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
And it's the buses, like the convoy of prison buses, are stopped by a convoy of what appears to be like military jeeps or some. I don't know. I don't know where the resources
black
came
trucks
from for this, but yeah, you know, your standard black jeeps and trucks, and a bunch of gunmen, and standing in the middle of them is the Black Mask.
Now, is this the second Black Mask?
Yes.
Or is this
Roman Sionis is dead. He was blasted in the face by Catwoman with a gun.
So then this mask is like the possessive.
Yeah.
version
Later
of the
on
mask.
in the Batman Reborn arc, which comes after this, it's when Nightwing has taken up the mantle of Batman. Spoiler alert. Yeah, that starts with Batman number 688, I believe, which is funny. It's actually drawn by Mark Bagley, who did Ultimate Spider-Man, which we just did in the last time. So yeah, this is spoiler alert again. Black Mask 2 is Jeremiah Arkham, the owner, coordinator, chief, psychiatrist, warden, whatever
guy?
you want to call it, of
the
Arkham
head of
Asylum.
Arkham.
Yeah, like his ancestors like built Arkham and whatever. But we're not led to know that until later on in the Batman Reborn run. But he pretty much takes over these buses and frees all of these inmates. And he says, like, you know what? You all work for me now. I've got these chips or nano.
Yeah,
some kind of.
he wallered
thing.
them.
I put some kind of science in you, and it's
basically mass suicide squatted them.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Like Waller does for the Suicide Squad. It's not a bomb, but it's like
it melts
burns
your face.
Yeah, it melts your face off. I don't even know who the guy is that tries.
It was just some no-name Joe.
Yeah, and Black Mask is like, activate M38 or whatever, and it just melts the guy's face. So all of the other inmates seem pretty compliant. So you have like a lot of nobodies, but a lot of names. Scarecrow's there, Killer Croc's there, Poison Ivy's there.
Zaz
is there. You've got like nobodies like Humpty Dumpty's there. Jane Doe is there.
Firefly.
Yep. Yeah. I actually like Firefly. I got a soft spot for Firefly.
That bomb guy. What was his name? He and Firefly shook hands over something.
I don't
But
quite
anyway.
remember. I think Great White is there too.
Yeah.
Who's also like kind of a nobody Batman villain, but yeah, he's okay. But anyway, Black Mask is running a gang of villains, and the whole premise is we're gonna make some noise. We're gonna go crazy because Batman's dead, and with that, just boom, really cool shot of
Yeah, he
Black
just
Mask
raised
in
his
the
arc
foreground. Batman is dead. Light it up, boys, and boom, the Arkham Asylum is destroyed. Gordon is racked with all kinds of emotions. The Batman's gone, and Riddler makes a quick little cameo just to fuck around with him. And then we get a shot of the bat signal with R.I.P. in the middle of it, which I guess they would scratch the paint off of the bat.
Yeah, to make
or
that
whatever,
R.I.P.
to make the R.I.P. But anyway,
Or broke it.
Then comes what to me is the most important panels in the entire book. Just we've got Dick Grayson in the Batcave standing in front of the display case with one of the bat suits, and this one happens to be the one that was on the charred body that Superman had in his arms at the end of Final Crisis. So this is the suit that Batman died in. And he just stands in front of it and broods. He broods like Bruce. And the only speech balloon in this collection of panels is Alfred saying off panel, he doesn't look happy in there. And from
Alfred's
there we
humor.
go into pretty much the main like part of the story. I'm just realizing now that I made a mistake. It's not Alfred that says it. It's Tim. Because Tim, above anybody else, is adamantly he's persistently like insistent that them, which is it's true. Nightwing is just not. He's not feeling that idea. He doesn't think that anybody is capable of filling those shoes, and not even himself. And I mean, if not him, then who? So Tim, being the detective that he is, he goes on to investigate this new murderous Batman that's just been going crazy throughout Gotham. And he decides if Dick's not going to do something about it, then he is. So there's this cool shot of all of the bat suits, but one empty.
With a note.
Like one of the display cases is empty with a note attached to the glass and a silhouette of Tim in the foreground, donning the. I would call it like. I'd call it the Silver Age. Like it's the Silver Age.
It's one of my
bat
favorite
suit.
bat suits. It looks really cool.
Really?
I like it.
I'm not
I like it a lot.
huge fan of it. But I don't like the yellow eclipse around the symbol, and I don't really like the capsule looking. There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really like the capsule belt, but I like that suit makes a reappearance.
Yeah.
And I mean, my favorite Batman color scheme is the gray and black, but occasionally it's cool to see the old gray and
the gray
royal
and blue
or whatever. So Tim has donned a bat suit, and he decides if Dick's not gonna do it, rather, then he's going to, and he goes after this crazy Batman, while Dick has his hands full with the rest of Gotham going crazy, I guess. So we've got Black Masked guys going crazy everywhere. We got Croc eating people. We've got
At this
Poison
point,
Ivy.
Croc's eating people count in this arc is up to 1. Totally eats one of Two-Face's henchman, or at least half of him.
Does he eat more than one person in this?
Yeah, well, I mean, he eats that girl that Damien was riding around with, that Barbara ejects from the car.
Are we just assuming that, though?
No, that's her shoe in the shot. I don't think Damien was wearing high tops.
Oh wow! At the beginning of at the beginning of the story,
Yeah.
Damian Wayne, the son of Bruce Wayne, the current Robin. He is joyriding around in the newest carnation of the Batmobile with some chick.
Yeah, some private school punk girl that he picked up.
So eventually Oracle takes control of the Batmobile, like, by remote, and the girl makes some offhanded comment about something. I don't remember.
Damien tries to cover up the fact that there's someone else in the vehicle by saying it's radio chatter from crossed waves. But Barbara's like, I can see her in the car.
Yeah, it's hard to pull one over on Barbara Gordon.
Yeah.
And she promptly ejects the girl from the Batmobile, which is, like, irresponsible, borderline retarded behavior.
Yeah. And then she gets eaten because Croc just so happens to be in the bush.
So, I mean, I suppose Oracle is indirectly, responsible for murder, but...
It's...
Is it murder if it's an animal attack?
I guess it's an animal
attack. If a bear
attack.
attacks you, is that murder?
No.
Like, if you die? So can it be if
so.
it's Croc? But
Like,
no,
if-
he's sentient, though. He's
if
like
one
fully
of us-
sentient. It's...
was getting mauled by a bear and the other one was, like, in a safe house. It's like, that's... You wouldn't get in trouble for murder. That's not murder, it's just like... Fuck.
Croc and Damien have a little tussle.
And you'd think Damien would fare a lot better being raised by ninjas.
Yeah,
his
the
entire
grandson
life.
of Ra's al Ghul, the son of Talia al Ghul,
And Batman.
And Poison Ivy and Croc put him down.
Yeah. If
They don't
Dick
put him
didn't
down,
show
but-
up, he would have been Croc's third snack.
But, I mean, you kind of have to make
Damien suck.
like not. Yeah, Damien does
Good.
suck. I hate Damien, but you've got to. I feel like I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
But you've got to. You've got to really feel how awesome Dick is.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point of this book. We have to make him worthy in 3 issues.
Yeah.
Um,
They pull it off pretty good.
I would say so, but I mean, even at the end of it, like, there's an explosion and Dick gets knocked out, and Damien ends up saving Dick.
Yeah, let's touch on that choice of eventually he moves on to become his Robin for a bit, right, over Tim.
Yeah, and there's like a whole thing about that where Tim is like super upset about it because
Yeah.
he's like, it was supposed to be me and you, Batman and Robin.
Total
and Dick
bros.
actually, it's this sweet moment where Dick is he just puts his hand on his shoulder and he's like, you're my equal. Robin is the sidekick. He needs like my guidance. You don't. You're fine how you are, just like I was fine how I was. And, like, because they're bros.
Yeah.
Tim and Dick, fucking beautiful relationship. But Damien's a loose cannon who needs to be, like, watched and shit, just like Jason Todd was. Speaking of which, we are introduced via sneak attack on Nightwing and Robin by the Batman, but not the
The
Batman
goddamn
as we know- yeah,
Batman.
not the Batman as we know him. It might also be noteworthy to point out that Damien is not Robin yet. He's still wearing that white and black jumpsuit thing. He hasn't like taken the mantle.
I was wondering what that was.
So Tim is still Robin.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're introduced to our menacing, murderous, crazy, armored, tactical gear, gun-toting, red-eyed, grill-mouthed Batman. And he's the one who's been pumping slugs into thugs all book so far. So yeah, he's here to take care of business.
He's a super effective Batman. Can't argue with that.
But I mean, that depends on what you mean by effective. Like,
He's
the
getting
point
rid of the bad guys.
that's not entirely.
I know
what the
that's
Batman's
not
for.
in not
Well,
in true Batman
At some
philosophy.
point in time, we'll definitely do an entire episode just about the philosophy of Batman, because I mean, it's a pretty crazy philosophy.
But I mean, if Wonder Woman took over Gotham, that she'd probably cut Killer Croc's head off.
There's
or
actually
something.
a book. There's a book where it's not. I don't know if it's like a. I mean, it's an Elseworlds thing, or it's like a dream or something, but she goes to Gotham and just like ends up killing his entire rogues gallery.
Yeah.
And is like, I don't know why this is hard. Like,
Exactly.
it's not a big deal.
I think she and Jason Todd might get along. Not really.
Gotham is being like warred over by the two underworld, like the big bads.
Yeah.
Which in Gotham, when it comes to like gangsters and stuff, that is almost always the Penguin on one end and Two-Face on the other. Black Mask being like injected into it is really, really cool, because he's kind of like, here come the crazies, like you do things this way and you do things this way, and it's really like the conservative criminal way of doing things, and here I am with my like lunatics.
It's very old fashioned.
Yeah.
Like once he sets Gotham ablaze, the first things to go down are the banks and the courthouses and
he
corporate
just,
structure.
incites anarchy.
Yeah.
And while this is happening, you've got this murdering crazy Batman who has just ambushed Nightwing and Damian, and they have a fight where pretty much this guy takes them apart until the arrival of the Birds of Prey, which is a cool little appearance. Black Canary and Huntress. I'm a big fan of Huntress. So we've got this crazy Batman who evades the capture of our heroes, and we then jump over to Tim in the Silver Age Batsuit, investigating the clues purposely left by this new evil Batman, trying to lead. Apparently trying to lead Batman, or
is his original intent. His only intention is to have both the original Robins find this new super dark and sharply shaped Batcave.
He made it.
And
he
made that
like,
himself. All the tech there is
made
just
that fucking cave.
Yeah. But he's trying to recruit them both, and Tim, being the genius that he is, instantly recognizes who it is, where it is, and what's going on, and goes to confront Jason.
Catwoman.
She tags
teams
along
up with Tim in this.
She's fighting outside, and she just kind of tails him after noticing him out the corner of her eye.
So she's rolling with him, and they're investigating this crazy Batman who's leaving these clues for him, and Dick and Damian, who have been fucked up, are being nursed back by Alfred, who he
brings them back pretty much just in time for a final showdown.
Black Mask is wreaking havoc and stuff in the
He is
background
unchecked.
of everything. Nobody really seems to be giving all that much of a shit about what he's doing.
The network kind of made their appearances, their major appearance a few pages ago, so it's just kind of Black Mask winning.
Dick is now aware of Tim doing his thing, stealing the bat suit and running out, tracking down this guy alone. So he's pissed. He finds the note that says "Gone hunting," and you just see this shot of his eyes. So Tim and Selena are ambushed by this Punisher-esque Batman.
Can we say it? Can we? He's Dick knows it's Jason all along. Or sorry, Tim.
I'm
Took
pretty
Jason
sure
a
he
bit.
does. Like that's
Yeah.
the big spoiler, I guess.
Tim knew before Jason.
He's gonna try to
or-
wait until the panel, but yeah, it's revealed that this
Yeah.
crazy Batman is in fact Jason Todd.
Yeah.
And he physically takes Tim the fuck apart, because as far as like brawling and fist fighting goes, I would say that out of all the Robins, Jason Todd was probably the most like superior. I guess that maybe not. I don't know. Dick is a super good fighter, but that's mostly because of his acrobatics and like his psychology, and you can't really hit him because he's psyching you out all the time by not shutting up. And Jason was like the just brute force angry one, and Tim, out of all of them, despite the fact that he is my favorite Robin,
Tim was more the scholar.
Yeah, he's the detective.
Yeah.
He's the master detective. The world's second greatest detective.
He does the super science to find the answer, and much closer to Bruce's style of doing things, really.
Yeah, but that's definitely not to say that Tim should be the one to be in the Batsuit.
Yeah.
Like Tim is. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get into that another time. So Nightwing takes off to the rescue, or tries to. Anyway, Damien is in the Batcave with Alfred. They're not really not letting him go anywhere because he's irresponsible and Damien sucks. Squire shows up on the Redbird cycle and Damien hops on and they take off.
That's when he gets his Robin suit.
Is
Alfred, yeah, if you go back, that's what Alfred's holding in his arms. You can see the red and the white cloak that he was wearing later on in the issue.
Okay, yeah.
That's when he first becomes Robin.
Jason Todd Batman has Tim Drake Batman at his mercy. Black Mask is just continuously doing his thing. I'm pretty sure Two-Face assassinates one of the Maronis, or one of the Falcons.
Is that who's in that bucket?
I
The
think
parts?
so.
I didn't really understand who he chopped up and was putting in the river, but he's also making his escape too, I suppose.
Dick tracks down Jason, and they begin their fight. It's a long fight. Like it's a few pages long.
The whole time Jason is just tearing into Dick. It's like, while you're here, your city is burning. Like, look how much you're failing to uphold everything that you stand for, and he's being an ass.
Tim, who is at risk of falling into a fiery chasm that has appeared out of the bottom of Jason Rather's Batcave. He is saved by the newly anointed Robin, Damian Wayne. I hate the costume. Later on, it's a little better.
Really?
I like the shoes for some reason.
shoes?
The green, he's got these
Like
green high
green
tops
boots?
with red laces.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's cute for some
Okay.
reason. Squire is also there because reasons. Jason and Dick are having their fight, and
It kind of just ends.
it's
Like, the
really-
action just comes.
Yeah,
like,
it's left
to
as
an
kind of
end
a
quickly.
cliffhanger as to whether or not Jason survived. He does the whole thing where he smiles and lets
Falls into
himself
the river.
fall. The old Disney death.
Yeah. How long till he comes back again?
I don't actually know.
That
I
was
know
a
it's not
bit,
very long.
yeah.
Because, yeah, we're introduced to him as, like, full-time Red Hood for a while. It's not that long from now, I don't think. But, yeah. Dick realizes that somebody's got to do it. And that it's, his calling. It's what Bruce would have wanted. Yeah, so he dons a bat suit and becomes the new Batman. To critical acclaim, actually. He's pretty, like, beloved as Batman by the readers for the most part. It was okay to have a break from Bruce, because I think everybody knew he was going to come back.
Did he also
eventually.
take his place in the League as Batman?
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember.
Yeah, where's Superman in all this? Wouldn't if he
Why
were
didn't
around-
Superman just come over and, like, save everybody and
solve
fix
the
Gotham
problem?
immediately? I don't know, because then, it's not about that, it's about the journey. I guess. I don't
You're
know.
gonna let the city burn and cross your fingers and hope that it works itself out?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Okay.
Gotham. It'll endure.
Yeah.
A
it will.
couple of things that we are introduced to in this story. The idea of Damian as Robin, which I hate and love, despite my hate for Damian. We're also, we're seeing that transition of, Tim Drake is wearing a Robin costume. He is Robin. He puts on the Batman costume. But once he takes that off and puts on his old costume, that doesn't mean he's Robin. He's now Red Robin. Him putting on the Silver Age Batman costume was, his transition into his own...
Yeah.
a hero in his own right.
I'm no longer
Night-
Robin. I'm
yeah.
Tim Drake.
Yeah.
And then after,
deciding and landing on...
I'm not
I'm
Robin
Red
anymore.
Robin.
Yeah, I can't be Robin anymore. So stick with what you know. He's got a cool cape wing thing though.
Yeah, in the New 52
In the
he
New
gets
52.
that, and it's really cool.
I like the old school Red Robin costume with the pointed cowl down around the nose thing.
Oh, yeah. It's like a
swimming-
Batman cowl
yeah.
without ears or whatever.
No ears, the pointed nose. And the,
Yeah. I mean, that's the costume that was
It looks like a
introduced in...
fencer.
it was introduced in Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
The, Dick Grayson wore that. In that universe,
That's the one that he
didn't go on to become Nightwing. He just stayed Robin and became Red Robin. And he was in Superman's new iteration of the Justice League that he formed after he came back and everything.
Yeah.
We are obviously given Dick Grayson takes up the mantle as Batman. Jason Todd is back on the scene again, and Black Mask is introduced as a really big threat. Black Mask is both versions actually are some of my favorite Batman villains. I'm not a massive Jason Todd fan, but I understand his importance to everything. Especially later on as Red Hood, becoming a good guy or anti-hero or whatever you want to call him again. Later on in the run of Batman Reborn, we've got a really neurotic Batman who's paranoid about his abilities as Batman and whether he's worthy or not, and Alfred's just laughing at him. And eventually they alter the suit so it's a lighter fabric so he can move around more to match his fighting style.
Yeah.
And the cape gets shortened and made out of a lighter material so he's not there's not as much drag because he's an acrobat.
Yeah.
He moves around a lot more than Bruce does. So the suit and the role really become his, and he becomes this... I mean, he's Dick Grayson, so he's smiling. He's enjoying this. This is an adventure for him. It always has been, ever since he was Robin. That's why the relationship always worked. And he's where Batman would always fuck with security footage, so no one ever saw him beat up the bad guys. Dick beats up guys in front of the cameras and smiles at the camera. Like, he's a new, friendly Batman. He wants you to know he's working for you. Like,
that's
he's
funny.
And then you've got his Robin, who is this
Dink.
little sociopath bastard. I hate Damien. But it's a really cool switch to go from this grim, brooding, tortured soul with this, like, this kid with this wondrous outlook on the idea of being a hero, and like that yin and yang of Batman and Robin being totally reversed, because now you've got that kid grown up in the mantle of the Bat, wearing the cowl, and he's like a smiley, optimistic Batman with this shitty, broody, cynical,
stuck-up little shit.
For a Robin, and he's just got to keep the reins on him and stop him from killing.
Kind of teach him, like, the Batman values, but doing it in a way that I probably soften him up.
Yeah,
to
and like Dick gets his own villains too.
Yeah, isn't Black Mask this carries on, but as his first run as Batman?
Yeah, Black Mask 2 is pretty much the first Dick Grayson Batman villain. Later on, we get James Gordon Jr. So, do you remember in year 1, he's got, like, James Gordon has Barbara Gordon, but he also has James Jr.
Yeah.
Who is the baby that gets tossed off the bridge, or falls off the bridge, I don't remember which, and Batman dives to save it in, like, street clothes, and Gordon's like, without my glasses I can't see anything. To, like, be like, I can't see who you are, thank you for saving my baby.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess that experience, or several others after it, combined with that, fucked this kid up.
Really?
Royally. And he essentially, like, he becomes this sociopathic, like, serial killer. But he's very self-aware. He's a brilliant, like, he's a genius.
Yeah.
But he's a psycho. So he's like, oh, I'm sick. It's not my fault. I'm a sociopath. I can't
He knows how to...
I need help.
Yeah.
And Batman wouldn't care about that. Like, Batman would just, like, Bruce Wayne would just punch that guy in the face.
Put him in Arkham.
Yeah. Whereas Dick Grayson is a far more compassionate guy.
Yeah, he'll probably not... He'll take you in, but you're not going to go to the really bad place. You're just going to go to the place where they're going to...
He might still put you in Arkham.
Yeah.
But he'll be, like, nicer about it. He won't punch you in the teeth while you're trying to, you know...
Put his hand on your shoulder. You're still going to Arkham.
Yep.
Fuck, I don't... Oh, man. I want to go to Arkham.
I both love and hate Dick Grayson's eventual Batsuit. Like, I love the color scheme. Like, I like how it's noticeably not Bruce.
Yeah.
The triangle blades, the fins, or whatever on the gloves, there's 2 instead of 3. I like that he doesn't have the yellow eclipse, but I also hate how there's a bat symbol for the belt buckle.
Yeah, that's a pretty big belt buckle.
Like, why do you also need that?
Some bling.
There's
bat bling.
The bat is on your chest. We don't need to see the bat twice. We get it. You're Batman.
Double bat.
Double bat.
Double rainbow double bat.
That was Batman, Battle for the Cowl, from 2009 by Tony Daniel. And we'll see you next time on ComicSans. I'm Mark.
I'm Trevor.
We'll see you later.